It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on! This could do it. Out to left field coming in. Benintendi. And the streak is over. After 21 L's in a row, the White Sox come to the West Coast and get their first win in a long time.
Oh, my God.
Say it with me. Southside, stand up.
Oh, my God. I just saw the faces of the hosts in the studio. Good God. That frightened me. Wow. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. 5:01 a.m. It's the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. Yeah, we came in with the one of the more improbable streaks I've ever seen. And maybe it's fitting that it came to an end in Oakland, where, as we all know, one of the great 20-game win streaks of all time came to be. They made a movie about it. Might have heard of it, called Moneyball. Brad Pitt was in it, Jonah Hill, amongst others. The Chicago White Sox have won a game, folks, for the first time since, what was it, July 6th, 10th? Something like that? Or it's almost been a month. Like, that's wild. And they improved to, where's my drum roll? Where's my drum roll? 28-88. They're back to 60 games under 500. Let's go. Good for the Red Sox. I had to open my show that way. Come on. I was off a day. I apologize. I had a little bit of a head cold. Need to get through it. NyQuil, DayQuil, undefeated. It's the Shaq and Kobe of medicines. It's undisputed at this point. We're talking about greatest duos when it comes to legal medicine. Let's be careful there. It's NyQuil. It's DayQuil. And no, you can't get the knockoff stuff. No. You gotta get the name brand stuff here. All right? We're not cutting corners. We're not getting the Peter Pan peanut butter. No one gets that. You get Skippy. All right? You don't get what the Safeway Select, although Safeways are sponsors. Maybe I should be careful. You get Smuckers. They carry that there too. That's what you do. Get the NyQuil, get the DayQuil. You'll be okay. Can't take that. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. You know the number to call in, though. 888-957-9570. That's the number to call or text the Xfinity Mobile text line. Good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready to do whatever you got to do. Hey, back to school time, man. If you're heading back to school, college, whatever you're doing, appreciate you joining me here at this hour of the day. And shout out to everyone listening around our great nation, around the world. Yes, Olympics is still going on. Team USA bounces Brazil in the quarterfinals yesterday on the men's side. 122-87, the final, as LeBron James, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, and everyone else gets the job done. They got a cool picture yesterday. I saw, I think it was Devin Booker that posted originally, of all the Team USA players on the men's side, all just chilling. Steph with the big smile, everyone else trying to look cool. You got Anthony Edwards, the big smile at the bottom. Just, I love this stuff, man. Just seeing our best, when they are at their best, no one can touch them. Like, and that's really what this has shown me. Oh, is the world caught up? Yeah, the world's caught up, but we're still miles in front of them. Like, you can catch up to Usain Bolt. You're not beating him. You can catch up to Team USA. You're not beating them. And we could stub our toe. Sure, that could happen. Step on a Lego. Do they have any of those out in Paris? Lego. You just step on one of those bad boys. Ow. Thank you. I'm back, baby. Sam's back. I'm feeling great. Missed that beautiful, beautiful head of hair. He should be in Game of Thrones right now. House of Dragon, which I guess ended. Dude, I'm so far behind on that. Yeah, I've only gotten through 2 episodes. I know, forgive me. And I've been seeing all the spoilers, everything. I've visited Leak Online. Mixed reviews. A lot of people thinking they kind of stretched this thing out to just kind of push it to the 3rd season. There's not as much source material in House of Dragon as there was with Game of Thrones, although maybe we should have stretched out Game of Thrones. Hindsight, obviously. You rushed that and it was horrible. Still never forgive the creators, Benioff and Weiss, ducking Comic-Con that year. Yeah, I was there. I was going to ask some questions. They were nowhere to be found, Sammy. Cowards. They didn't want to face the wrath. It's all right. Speaking of facing the wrath, that's what Kyle Shanahan's going to be facing. John Lynch is going to be facing. The 49ers are going to be facing if Brandon Aiyuk's playing for another team. I mean, I'm gone for one day, and it's absolute chaos for the Golden State Warriors. No more Larry Markkinen. Bye-bye. See you later. Expected to sign a contract in the coming days, but now that he's signing after yesterday, post August 6th, it's no longer tradable. So that's not going to happen. And it looked like it wasn't going to happen, at least for the last month, according to reports. That's when talks kind of died down since July. And listen, no pods, no deal. That was really what it was. Anthony Slater talked about it yesterday on our station.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like, again, it's too. I can't sit here and say that was a breaking point. They were sitting there on one Wednesday in mid-July, and it was like, if he's in it, it's the trade is made. If he's not, it's not. But if it had gotten into deeper talks, that was going to be a tension point in theoretical talks. The Warriors never wanted him on the table. Again, we reported it today, but the Warriors have denied several trades league-wide that offers for Brandon Pajemski. But again, it did not get to the point that, they were just, it was at the 1 yard line and one piece was going to swing the move.
Anthony Slater again joining Willard and Dibbs yesterday, Sam. Thumbs up, Willard and Dibbs. Okay. Find that entire interview on YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game. Like, subscribe there. Anthony Slater, always good to us, and he's been great to us all summer long because it's been a wild summer for the Golden State Warriors. And I wonder where Warriors fans' heads are at 888-957-9570 after that news. No Larry Markkinen. They didn't want to give up Brandon Pajemski. Is Brandon Pajemski a good enough player right now for you to say that he's untradeable? 888-957-9570. So that took place. And then we got reports coming out left and right. Matt Mayoko just a couple days ago saying, yeah, it's more likely than ever that Brandon Aiyuk's going to get traded. And then there was multiple teams interested. You got the Browns interested. You got the Patriots interested. You got the Steelers sniffing around. Is there another team sniffing around out there? Well, Brandon Aiyuk may have his pick, but right now, he ain't picking New England and he ain't picking the Browns. And those are the teams with the best offers right now. And Brandon Aiyuk doesn't have a no trade clause, but the 49ers are trying to do right by him. They would like to keep him, obviously, at their price, which is not Aiyuk's price. Aiyuk ultimately just wants to get paid. He doesn't care if it's by the Niners. He wants to get paid. That's what needs to happen for him. And then 49ers are not going to pay him what he wants. So they need to facilitate a trade. Patriots? High second rounder? Kendrick Bourne? Okay. Browns? Second rounder? Third rounder? Amari Cooper? Okay. But not for Aiyuk. He doesn't want to play in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, who's hurt. PJ Walker, who's always hurt. I don't even know if he's on that team anymore. Dorian Thompson, I don't know. Stefanski's a hell of a head coach, but he doesn't want to play there. Although I think he'd do well. Doesn't want to live in Cleveland. It's a very tough division. It's cold. Get it. Doesn't want to go to New England. Unproven quarterback, a rookie, or you're going Jacoby Brissett. Not a lot of skill position players out there other than him. He's probably going to get double teamed a lot. Doesn't want to go out there. Again, cold, tough division. Not that there's not really a non-tough division. I guess the NFC South other than that. But he doesn't want to go there. So where does that leave us? Well, Pittsburgh's been a team all along that's been linked to him. Pittsburgh makes sense. Now, what is Pittsburgh willing to give up? Is it a second round pick? Are they giving up a player? There has to be a player involved here, is what I'm getting at. And I think it has to be a skill position player. So that's when you start looking at teams that might get in on this. That might be a destination for Brandon Aiyuk. Now, I'm not reporting anything. I'm not having my journalistic, no. There's no sources here. Me just spitballing at 5:10 a.m. Pregame show, 888-957-9570. You got a receiver that isn't really part of your future plans or a skill position player, and you got the draft capital to go get him, why not? No, seriously, why not? If you're like the Carolina Panthers, who just brought in Deontay Johnson, why not go out and get, and I know you just drafted Xavier Leggett, go get another guy. Can't get enough people to help you get Bryce Young help, right? Like, come on. Now, they did give up a haul to go get Bryce Young too, so their picks may be thin. But if you're a team like that, go after it. Now, again, would Brandon Aiyuk say, I'm not going to Carolina? You think I'm not going to Cleveland and New England? Damn sure not going to Carolina. Maybe he likes the warm weather. I don't know. Or, could a team like the Raiders get involved? Devontae Adams, does that get back into the fold here? Now, I don't think so. The dead cap with the trade, all that. You have to work that out. But Brandon Aiyuk played for Antonio Pierce, who was a part of that Herm Edwards coaching staff. Herm Edwards, by the way, joining us tomorrow. Us, meaning the morning host, up the pregame show. Although I might start getting some guests here. I might. I like that idea. Get some East Coast people that are already up that hour today at 8:11 over there. It's not a bad idea. Might start doing that. So Herm Edwards, don't press send. Shout out Monterey Peninsula College alum and also Monterey High School. Love it. Toreadors. So more teams might get involved here is what I'm trying to say. And how are 49ers fans feeling about this whole thing? Who's at fault? Is it one? Is it both? 888-957-9570, because this is just not what the 49ers do. Or is it? I mean, they play with fire a lot here. They got burned with the DeForest Buckner thing. You move on from him. You're paying Eric Armstead, and Eric Armstead was fine. He wasn't DeForest Buckner. And yeah, you got Nick Bosa. Awesome. He's DPOY. He's the only first-round pick in the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch era that you've re-signed. It's just bad business. And it's not a sustainable business if you're not re-signing your first-round picks. I just mentioned a team, the Raiders. I mean, how many times have they whiffed in the first round and they've been stuck in mediocrity the last couple of years because of it? When you whiff on guys like Cleve Furl, Damon Arnett, Carl Joseph going back then, Alex Leatherwood. The list goes on and on and on. Jamarcus Russell. You might have Jamarcus jerseys I still see around Oakland is so hilarious too. I still see him just walking around. But 888-957-9570. I want to hear from the 49ers fans. How are we feeling about this whole Aiyuk situation? Is this going to be a dark cloud that lingers over the season all year long? Aiyuk's not coming back. There's no way he's coming back. I have a very difficult time seeing that. Tim Kawakami, The Athletic and the TK Show and Odyssey podcast joined the Morning Roast yesterday, and he thinks it's 50-50 at best on how this thing ends.
I don't know. That one is totally open. You start letting other teams talk to your player, which Mayoko's reported, and I'm sure is true. It could be a big feint. It could be a bluff, right? You go ahead and find out, and then we'll come back, and you'll like it here. Like, once you let that happen, it's very likely Tim, that he's going to like what he hears. Tim, and so it's 50-50 at best. From
the 831, morning, Joe. What city are you from in the 831? I'm a North Salinas high school grad from 09. Shout out North High, Vikings, right? I grew up in Pacific Grove. I went to high school in Salinas as well. Went to Palma, Chieftains. Yep. There you go. Shout out the 831. Love you. Salinas, Monterey, all y'all. Santa Cruz. Let's go. 831. Best area code out there. No disrespect to the 510 with the 415s. Always 831 at heart. But 50-50 at best? Yeah, it's starting to feel like 75-25. I've just gauging what I'm seeing right now. Like, I am not confident in Brandon Aiyuk returning in a 49ers uniform. As he just alluded to, once you open up the floodgates of all these other teams, they're going to try to get him. You don't think that the best of the best are even sniffing around him? You don't think a team like, I don't know, the Jets right? I feel like they're a piece away. You know, you don't think a team like the Packers, like, you can say, Spadoni, you're just throwing random teams out there. Teams are going to start looking at this situation being like, man, can he just be had for like a pick and a player we can get off our books? Like, okay. He just wants to get paid. Let's clear up some space here. You're going to start getting some willing buyers, and he's going to leave. And are you a better team today without Brandon Aiyuk than you were just yesterday when he was on your team? Well, Kyle Shanahan spoke yesterday to the media, and as I peruse here, all right, we'll start with this one. Could it hurt the team if Aiyuk stays in SF but is unhappy?
Is it potentially detrimental to the team to keep Aiyuk here if he's unhappy and doesn't have an extension?
I mean, everything can be. I mean, totally. We're trying to figure out what the situations are. They're always moving. I don't know what the best one will be. But yeah, there's pluses and minuses to every situation.
If you traded Brandon Aiyuk, could you see a scenario where you're better because of that?
I mean, Brandon's a great player. So it's real hard to be better when you lose a great player. So we got to look into anything. We got to understand the situation we're in, what that looks like, and that does take time. So hopefully it'll all work out best for him and best for us in the long run.
Spoiler alert, they're not going to be better unless Ricky Pearsall has a... Thank you, Sam. I realized I left my phone in there. Appreciate it. Unless Ricky Pearsall has a, Puka Nacua type rookie season, and that is one of the great... No, it was the greatest rookie receiving season of all time. I don't think Pearsall is going to do that. So yeah, you'll take a little bit of a step back. Oh, and by the way, your best offensive player, and if you want to say that's Trent Williams, who also hasn't reported yet and is holding out, but 1A, 1B, Christian McCaffrey, yeah, he's got a calf strain. Not going to play in the preseason. And how's that going to be felt if he's missing week one? Potentially. This is what you're facing, 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch. You're potentially facing in week one, no Trent Williams, no Brandon Aiyuk, no Christian McCaffrey. And how's that going to be against Aaron Rodgers and that ferocious New York Jets defense? How's that going to be? Good luck, Brock Purdy. Hey, I like Debo. I like George. Juwan, that's great. Elijah, here you go. I would feel much better if I had Brandon Aiyuk, Trent Williams, and Christian McCaffrey. I know that. I know McCaffrey's is injury-related, not contract-related, but things can get off the tracks very, very fast. A week one loss, and you start getting some sweaty butts in the seats, and not just in the sun side of Levi's. People start getting very, very nervous. More from Kyle Shanahan on if he needs the Aiyuk situation to be resolved quickly.
No, I mean, you always want it to be badly, but this stuff does take time, and every day I hope it gets resolved. But I have no timetable on it. Like, didn't surprise me coming into this, going about coaching our team, getting them ready for week one, and hopefully it'll get resolved though sooner than later.
888-957-9570. What went wrong during this entire negotiation? What was, the inflection point of all of this? Was it just the 49ers, scuffling their feet and not acting quick enough? And you just saw the wide receiver market explode. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, everything, Justin Jefferson. Is this all the 49ers not jumping ahead of it soon enough, or is it just they never wanted to pay the guy? And the 510, thank you for adding this to the defensive end. I was just sticking on offense, but don't forget, no Hufanga, no Greenlaw. Yeah. D. Winter's great. I'm hearing a lot about the guy. Maybe he's good. I mean, they missed Hufanga a lot last year. They missed that swagger. They missed that guy that could take the top off and get that big turnover and potentially try to score too. He has that sort of ability. But I just 888-957-9570. I'm just trying to find what went wrong in all this, and it just comes back to I just don't think they want to pay Brandon Aiyuk. That's just what it is. They're just telling us that. I don't know how Niner fans are going to feel about that. I already know some of them are already turning on the player. That's what fans do. I saw it when Khalil Mack got traded. I see it all the time. You turn on the player because you want to root for your team. And you don't want that team to succeed or that player to succeed on another team. That's what fans do. I get it. I just can't fault Brandon Aiyuk for wanting to get paid as much as he can get paid. He was second team All-Pro. He was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL last year. That was, if we were talking about a contract season, that's what you try to do, right? Try to get first team, second team All-Pro. And you say, F you to everyone, I'm getting paid, and then you don't get paid? Yeah, I'd feel some type of way about that. Tim Kawakami on Jed not wanting to pay up.
They do have the money. Now, I understand, they got the Purdy money coming down the back end, but it's not salary cap money. That's just guaranteed money. This is guaranteed money that Jed York probably does not want to pay. You know what? Okay, that's his decision. I get it. But then you're judged by the roster you end up with. If they end up without Brandon Aiyuk, it's been a miscalculation. They've just miscalculated and misplayed this to get it in this position. This is not what good teams do. Look at the Detroit Lions. They've re-signed everybody.
Yep.
They've figured out a way. That's a team that the 49ers are likely going to run into in the NFC Championship game.
Jed just doesn't want to pay up for Brandon Aiyuk. I get it. I understand. You have Debo, you have Kittle, you have McCaffrey. You hope you have Trent Williams week 1. Still under contract, but he's holding out. You have Brock Purdy. Even without Brandon Aiyuk, that's still a Super Bowl contender. I truly believe that. But it does make things a little more difficult. Can Juwan Jennings, can he just, slide in there? I don't know. I like Juwan Jennings' role he has now. If he has to be the second wide receiver, I'm not sure. The first, I should say. Because at times, Debo isn't that guy. He's Weapon X, right? He's everywhere. The wide back. Ricky Pearsall, are we expecting big things from him already? Guy's got soft tissue injury concerns. There's been mixed bag in training camp. I'm hearing great things. I'm hearing not so great things. So be careful what you wish for if you're Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch. And I'm sure they wish that Aiyuk would sign at the price point that they want. But he's not going to do that. Anthony Lima joined the guys yesterday in the morning, and Anthony Lima obviously is a host at 92.3 The Fan, our sister station out in Ohio, covers the Browns. And here's what he had to say about the 49ers potentially, if there was a trade to be consummated. Now, right now, it doesn't look like Aiyuk wants to go to Cleveland. Maybe he gets talked into it. I know Deshaun Watson didn't want to go to Cleveland, and they gave him a bunch of money. So maybe they just, Jimmy Haslam, the owner over there, just says, hey, here's all this money. And Aiyuk's like, all right, sure. Here's a massive signing bonus guaranteed in your direct deposit immediately. There you go. Could happen. But expect the Browns to give back some O-line depth potentially, not Amari Cooper.
I imagine the 49ers would then be looking at offensive linemen, which the Browns have had pretty good depth over the years. That depth was tested last year because of injuries across the board on that O-line. But, the Browns have had a top 5 offensive line for like 6 straight years. And so I could understand why, the 49ers might want to pluck one of those guys, given, how valuable that could be to Shanahan's system.
More from Anthony Lima. And obviously the big name that was surrounding a potential trade with Cleveland was Amari Cooper, former Alabama wide receiver, number 4 overall pick to the Oakland Raiders at the time. God, it was 10 years ago. God, time flies. Why the Browns would move off of Amari Cooper in a potential Aiyuk trade?
There's a lot that I don't think makes sense between these two teams having this conversation outside of the Browns potentially getting younger and having a really good wide receiver who might even have a higher ceiling than I think what Amari Cooper has had. The question is, how can they get around the $29 million in dead money over multiple seasons going forward on Amari Cooper? That is the hard part of this. Cooper did have one of the worst holdouts in NFL history. And what I mean by that is he basically said the minute the holdout was over, yeah, I never really wanted to hold out, and I never really was going to hold out. as we got further into training camp. He just really doesn't do business that way, which of course they use against you. But basically what holding out a mini camp and OTAs, what that got him in the first few days of training camp down in West Virginia, which is where they started it, basically all he got was a guarantee for the season, that if he got injured in training camp, that he'd get his money. So that's what he fought for. That's what he got, but he did not get, and he seemed a little vexed at this, he did not get any kind of commitment going forward, which of course somebody on the other side of 30, which is what he's going to be, is what they're looking for at wide receiver.
Anthony Lima, again, host over at 92.3 The Fan out in Cleveland, joined the Morning Guys yesterday. Find that entire interview on YouTube. And also be sure to download the Odyssey app, favorite it. It's free, and you can find that interview and thousands of other interviews, channels, shows, everything. It's free. Love the Odyssey app. All right, got to take a quick break. Come on back. More of your calls, more of your texts. What went wrong during these negotiations, and is it salvageable for the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk, or are you already kissing him goodbye, 49ers fans? 888-957-9570 is the number. As we discuss more of that on the other side, the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
comfortable with whoever it is. I mean, that's just it's this year as a coach. You always, and there's times I think Aiyuk missed a game last year, and we had to do that. So it's something you're always prepared for. Aiyuk could also be with us, and everything could be great, and he could get hurt, like has happened plenty of times. We lost a running back on a walkthrough practice before our first game a few years ago, Jeb McKinnon, and didn't have him for the whole year. So we had a quarterback who tore his ACL in week 3 1 year. So that's stuff that you're always used to.
Kyle Shanahan on if Ricky Pearsall can step up if they lose Brandon Aiyuk potentially via trade. So we're talking right now on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. 1 segment down, 2 more to go here before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky of the Morning Roast. They're fired up about this. 49ers fans, I know are fired up about it. 888-957-9570. The question is simple. What went wrong during these negotiations? Is it the Niners dragging their feet? Is it Aiyuk? This isn't Aiyuk's fault. None of this is. I think if the 49ers nipped this thing in the bud early, we're not having these conversations. Instead, they dragged their feet. Everyone else got paid. They prioritized other players on their team over Aiyuk's contract. And now this is where we're at. So they really have no one to blame but themselves right now. You got the Pearsall pick. So you've already drafted his potential replacement. And it looks like, again, I'm calling it 75% that he's going. 75-25 right now. Tim Kawakami yesterday joined the guys. He said it was 50-50. I'm saying 75-25. Hell, it could jump to 80-20 in the next 10 minutes. And what team is going to get him? It's not going to be the Browns yet. It's definitely not going to be the Patriots. I think they've backed off the talks. Browns, I don't think, are totally out of it. The Steelers are still sniffing around. Could the Raiders get involved? Well, we'll see. They haven't really been super linked to them. I think people are just pointing the dots because Antonio Pierce's relationship with Brandon Aiyuk, they're tight. The guy who likes Las Vegas, who doesn't like Las Vegas. So, we'll see. I mean, that's the dream scenario, if anything, in all this, where the 49ers end up getting better, is if you get Devontae Adams. Even Amari Cooper, I still think is somewhat, probably a slight net negative. It's just slight, though. It's almost a net neutral, because I just think that highly of Amari Cooper. I get it. I don't think he's as good as Brandon Aiyuk right now, but he's pretty close. He's been a model of consistency throughout most of his career. So, yeah, I think you'd be okay with that. But if you were to just get Kendrick Bourne or just a draft pick and like a right guard or something, like some of it said, no, we don't want that. Please. Kyle Shanahan talking to the media yesterday on his emotions and frustration given the situation.
Calculated and prepared. I mean, you want everybody out there. When frustrated guys are hurt and can't get out there, all you want to do is practice and get ready for the tough season that's ahead. But you also truly understand the business side of our league and what these guys do and put themselves through and what they have to go through in these deals. So whether it's a hold in or whether it's a hold out, I mean, this stuff is pretty common, and you just got to be patient with it as a coach.
From the 415, he wants Cooper, second rounder, and a third rounder from the Browns. Again, Brandon Aiyuk have somewhat of a say in this because they could trade for him and he could not re-sign there. He could be like, I'm good. Yeah, I'll play on this 5th year, then I'm out. That could happen. It's kind of similar with what the Jets are going through right now with Hassan Reddick. Yeah, they traded for Hassan Reddick. I think we all forget that. From Philadelphia. Yeah, Hassan Reddick wants to get paid. So, and I don't know. I'm going to look this up. I don't think he's reported to camp yet. Yeah, he's still holding out. They traded for the guy. He's 29 years old. He wants a new contract. They traded for him and didn't give him one. So that's a situation that he could potentially be facing if Cleveland gets rid of Amari Cooper and then all of a sudden you're looking at Jerry Jeudy as your number 1 option. Yikes. Saw a lot of Jerry Jeudy in the AFC West. Not impressed. Yeah, he's great route runner at times. Guy's got stone hands. He's got oven mitts for gloves. Just doesn't work. Looks like the penguin out there. I don't think he's been the same ever since Steve Smith went at him either. Through the media. More from Tim Kawakami on why it's almost impossible to replace what Aiyuk does.
The things that he does are going to be almost impossible for them to replace. Just look at it that way. If they don't have Brandon Aiyuk, guess what? They got to go find a Brandon Aiyuk, and that's hard. And it's not Ricky Pearsall. It isn't this year. What would they pay to get a Brandon Aiyuk on their roster? They'd give up a first, maybe a first and a second, right? If they had another Brandon Aiyuk out there, that's what they would pay. That makes him very valuable. Is he a pound for pound a better player than A.J. Brown or Justin Jefferson or whoever? That's debatable. Probably not. But in this system where you got to block to earn your routes, you got to run the decoy routes as hard as you run the routes where you know you're getting the ball. I don't know exactly who's going to fit better than Brandon Aiyuk. And that's how you have the real world, you have to value it.
It's always about his value to the team. The problem is when you prioritize all these other people on your team ahead of him, it makes it very difficult to try to pay him like one of the top receivers in the NFL. It makes it very difficult. When you're already paying Debo, you're already paying George Kittle, you're already paying Brandon Aiyuk, you want to re-sign or restructure Trent Williams' contract, you better keep him. You already paid Juwan Jennings, ask Kyle Juszczyk to take a pay cut, and you're about to pay Brock Purdy probably a $300 million contract, which is just insane to say out loud, but it's probably going to happen. So you factor all that in, and then you're just left like, Aiyuk, I just don't think we could keep you at the price point that you want. And I'm having a hard time faulting the 49ers in all this because I still think they're a Super Bowl contender without him. Are they as good without him? No. But they're still the best in the NFC. I believe that. Do you disagree? 888-957-9570. I still believe, even without Brandon Aiyuk next season potentially, they are the best team in the NFC and still a top 5 team in the NFL without Brandon Aiyuk. I believe in that quarterback. I believe in that head coach. I believe in that defense. I believe in George Kittle and Debo Samuel. Now, the health of Debo is going to be a huge factor there without potentially Brandon Aiyuk. And then the production you're going to get from Ricky Pearsall and others. It's going to be a major question mark still. Who could potentially step up without him? We're not there yet, but you start kind of looking at the future. How can you not? I mean, we're a month away from week 1. Hell, we're less than a month away. When is it? Jets, Niners, week 1. Let's see. Yeah, we're a month away. That's right. It's on Monday Night Football. September 9th. A little more than a month away. And right now, just given what we've seen, calf strain for McCaffrey, there's a chance he could be out for week 1. There's a chance. Not reporting anything, but calf strains are very serious, and especially a guy that has that much cutting ability, that much force in that ground game, that much just stress on that part of the body. Yeah, you got to be careful. So you're looking at potentially no McCaffrey week 1. You're looking at Trent Williams, who's holding out. Could he pull a Chris Jones? And Chris Jones, obviously last year, defensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs, coming off a Super Bowl win, held out week 1 against the Detroit Lions, the very first game of the year on Thursday Night Football, in which the Detroit Lions came in there, kicked their ass, and won. I mean, Kadarius Toney had the drops, but that Lions offense was humming, man. That running game was humming. No Chris Jones. It was glaring. And could you be looking at the inverse of that with no Trent Williams on the left side protecting Brock Purdy? All of a sudden, your $300 million quarterback's getting pummeled by the likes of Quinnen Williams. Yeah, that's not a recipe for success. And then tie in that, potentially no Aiyuk, and now another safety blanket is gone. Now you have to trust a rookie. Your timing's not there. Oh, tipped ball, interception. Like, this is what can happen. I'm not fear-mongering here. I'm just telling you right now on August 7th, 2024, the year of our Lord, what the 49ers are potentially facing a little more than a month away. No Trent, no McCaffrey, no Aiyuk. That is scary. And I do not want that against Aaron Rodgers, who, say what you will, I call him Throw Rogan. But the guy is a Hall of Famer, MVP. He has torn the Niners' hearts out in the regular season. He is lethal. You got to be careful. Garrett Wilson is a problem. And that defense, again, is for real. Robert Saleh, you damn sure he wants to win that one. It's week 1, everyone wants to win, but returning back to Santa Clara, yeah, that defense is going to be fired up. I'm fired up talking football, man. I'm so excited. We got preseason football. I'm still not, that kickoff, it's just so aesthetically unpleasing. I get it. It's new. It's different. We're going to have to get used to it. Is there any way that we do this? It just doesn't work out and then we just go back to the original one? I get it. I was fine with the old one. Why are we tinkering with it? I don't know. One more segment. Pregame show rolls on. More of your calls, more of your text on 95.7.
95.7 The Game.
I'm not optimistic.
I don't think a lot of Niner fans are. BPA. It's BPA. I heard his voice in a minute on our airwaves. We'll call him today. Maybe called him yesterday. There's a lot going on in Bay Area sports right now. Giants took an L yesterday. Mentioned that. Should mention that. Hayden Birdsong got lit up. Bob Melvin coming out, asked him to come out for the third inning. Guy had nothing left. I mean, he's a rookie. What do you want from him? He's due for a bad start. He had a bad one there. Shake it off. Taylor Swift. Go there. Take the series today. But after jumping to a 4-1 lead, 4-0 lead, I should say, you would have liked to capitalize on that and try to win that game, but alas. Best rotation in baseball? Maybe not. Yeah, I heard that. Even though I was out last week, I heard that. Best rotation in baseball. It's going to be compared to that the rest of the season. Farhan does have a way with words sometimes, and we don't forget them. That is a fact. So, Giants doing their thing. They're hovering around 500. We'll see. Warriors, well, they're not getting Lauri Markkanen, so their offseason consisted of getting rid of Klay Thompson. He's gone. Statue guy, Splash Brother, Hall of Famer. Just one of the greatest players in the history of your franchise. He's gone. You bring in DeAnthony Melton. Oh, and Chris Paul, another Hall of Famer, that you traded your future point guard, at least you thought at the time when you gave him that contract, Jordan Poole. It was basically a glorified salary dump, as Anthony Slater so eloquently put it a couple months ago. So you get rid of Jordan Poole for Chris Paul. They don't re-sign Chris Paul. Chris Paul goes to San Antonio. Klay Thompson goes to the Dallas Mavericks. So you got DeAnthony Melton, Kyle Anderson, and you got DeAnthony Melton, Kyle Anderson, excuse me, and Buddy Hield. So, what grade are you giving them? I'm giving them. You just lost 2 Hall of Famers. You replaced it with Kyle Anderson, DeAnthony Melton, and Buddy Hield. You want to give him a C? Sure. It's an incomplete. I'll go IC there. It's just not good enough. Not good enough if your name is Stephen Curry. And that's really what it comes down to. And for the Warriors, they're also looking life beyond Steph. And Brandon Pajemski apparently is a major piece of that. For the life of me, and he had a really good rookie season. Does any of us think that Pods is generational, going to be a multi-time All-Star? Not to say Lauri Markkanen is generational. He's a one-time All-Star. It's not even the Markkanen thing. I just am kind of untradeable, untouchable. Really? Anthony Slater. And we can jump back into the Niners here in a second. I wanted to get to this. If the Warriors were to get Markkanen, what would it have taken?
No. I would say there was 2 chances for the Warriors to potentially get Lauri Markkanen. Early July when I'd say, the Jazz kind of opened the phone lines for anyone that wanted to just blow them away. The Kings were in on it before they pivoted to DeMar DeRozan. There were some reports about the Spurs, and then obviously the Warriors were the most serious of them. And now, I would say now that we can take a month away from it and look back, I think your chance at the start of July to potentially get Lauri Markkanen was to just blow Utah away. Take everything. Take all the young guys. Take all the picks. What else do you want? And then the second potential chance that you thought was if the Jazz or Lauri Markkanen decided the extension didn't make sense. And August 6th, as you mentioned, August 7th, for Lauri Markkanen purposes, was always going to be the date that they had to either commit to each other. And if they didn't commit to each other, it would have been a major signal to the rest of the league that either Lauri Markkanen was hesitant about being through this difficult rebuild, or that Utah, might want to trade him and not commit long term and basically give him a no trade clause for a year. So if that had happened, then I think the asking price would have had to be lowered because the leverage from Utah's side would have been way lowered. But what happened. Lauri Markkanen decided he wants to take a lot more money than anybody else could have given him because he can use Utah's current cap space to get a huge raise next season and then extend off that. And Utah decided to give him this major deal, and that kind of puts all the rumors to rest.
No Markkanen. You got Melton, Anderson, and Hield. You lose Clay. You lose Chris Paul. It's going to be a very interesting upcoming season for the Golden State Warriors. I am very fascinated to see how this looks and how Stephen Curry feels about all this. Because that's ultimately, again, how does Steph feel about all this? As he is playing on Team USA in Paris, France, with LeBron, AD, and you guys notice they're all like hanging out all the time? Just those three guys. KD too. But they're all just a little concerned there. If I'm a Warrior fan. LeBron and AD, a little too close for comfort. Leave me alone. All right? Leave my guy alone. Don't want to get any ideas. All right? Relax, Warriors fans. They're not trading him to the Lakers. But Stephen Curry now is available for that 1-year Supermax extension. And I don't think he's in a rush to sign it. I think he'll sign it whenever he wants to. And if he doesn't, is that a hint to the Golden State Warriors organization that, you know what, he could be gone and that he could be traded? That can happen. The unthinkable. More from Slater on the Warriors holding on to some of their pieces and chips with the hope that a big name is available at the deadline.
I wonder about, you look at Brooklyn, would a Dorian Finney-Smith be available? Would a Cam Johnson be available? Maybe, but do you want to use up some of, your assets that maybe come January, there's a really bigger name available and suddenly you don't have that because you used it to get Dorian Finney-Smith.
Cam Johnson's intriguing. Young, sharpshooter, tall, big, athletic. That's a name that intrigues me. Dorian Finney-Smith, does nothing for me. Cam Johnson, I'm interested in. But again, where are the Warriors going to be at? Time will tell. Tim Kawakami on the Warriors not going all in on Lauri Markkanen.
I think there was a way they could have done it by putting Podziemski in. There wasn't just about Podziemski, but I think they could have. I think they did not go all in on this. I'm a little surprised. As we wrote about it, earlier this week, I thought maybe when it really came down to it, I just don't know that there's another top line player who they can get. They always think they're involved, and you never know. Somebody could come available in February because it is going to move to February now, but it won't be Lauri Markkanen now. We know he'll be ineligible to be traded. I thought they'd push harder, but. I can also say they thought their slam dunk was Markkanen plus Kuminga plus Podziemski going into the future. And they did not want to jeopardize that and give their picks by putting in a prize player like Podziemski. And, let's just be honest, maybe they could put Podziemski into another trade.
That would be something. I don't think that. Just the Podziemski untradeable thing is it's kind of wild to me. It's kind of wild. So they keep Podziemski. It's not getting traded. Could Brandon Aiyuk be traded for the San Francisco 49ers? That's going to be the big topic of discussion today. I mean, it's the big discussion in football right now. I mean, I don't even know. Nothing even comes close. This is the big unfinished storyline of this offseason as training camp has already been underway. Preseason is going to start this weekend, week 1. Where is Brandon Aiyuk going to go? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go to the Steelers? Is he going to go to the Browns? We know he's not going to go to the Patriots. Is the ball in his court to decide where he wants to go? Will the 49ers assist him in doing so? I don't think they really have a choice. I mean, if they find the team and they get the pick, right now they'll hold up because he wants to go to the Steelers. Steelers, though, have been pretty, reserved and overpaying for Brandon Aiyuk. They want Aiyuk. They want to pay him. They just don't want to give up a lot. And that's where these negotiations can get a little tricky. Now, does it start getting toxic? Does it leak in? Is it affecting the players? Is it affecting the team? That's when a team panics and takes less than you initially should have. Then maybe at the start of free agency period where you could have traded him and his value was a lot higher. Now you're just trying to move off of him. I don't think it's going to get to that point. I don't think the Niners are going to, panic per se. But again, the more this is just trickling down, the more Trent Williams is holding out. It's not a great look. Coming off a Super Bowl loss, when we all think this is kind of the last sliver of a window with all these guys, this last Super Bowl run with Kittle, with Debo, Purdy, maybe Aiyuk, Trent Williams. Like, this feels like the last year for some of these guys. And you're going to go into next season without your best wide receiver? It is tough. Again, a lot of respect for the quarterback, a lot of respect for the head coach. I do think they are still the Super Bowl favorite without him. Coming out of the NFC, I should say. With him, even more so. And actually, let me look that up right now. DraftKings Super Bowl odds. Let's do that right now. Perfect. So 2025, you got the Chiefs at plus 500, and then right behind them, 49ers plus 600. Then you got the Ravens, Lions, Bengals, Eagles, Bills, Texans. So it's the Chiefs and the Niners still. Vegas is like, Brandon Aiyuk. I would be interested to see how much that does change. Do they go from plus 600 to plus 700? Is it that kind of a line change? Is it plus 600 to plus 650 without Brandon Aiyuk? I just know that the NFC is still wait and see for me. AFC, if this is the AFC and he lost Aiyuk, yeah, I'd be panic mode. Right now, I got to see it from the Chicago Bears. I got to see it with the Philadelphia Eagles. Can the Lions with legit expectations next year? I got to see it there again, too. We'll see with the Packers. Fun little run. How sustainable is it? The Rams? Stafford stayed healthy for most of last year. Can he do that again? And by the way, did you guys see the reports with Jimmy Garoppolo coming out of there? Yikes. Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeesh. Not looking great. Stop me if you heard this one before. Rams looking to cut Jimmy Garoppolo after seeing him in training camp. I don't mean to laugh, but as a star faded quicker than Jimmy Garoppolo post Kyle Shanahan, Joe Shasky was coming up.
You know how there's like a montage for people when they go into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
The montage for Shanahan, if he does ever get there, would just be Jimmy G highlights. Because the fact that he propped him up like this is, I think it's his greatest achievement.
You literally type, Joe, I'm not even kidding, type in Jimmy G in Google.
What comes up?
After years of defending him, 49ers fans now claiming Jimmy G isn't good enough for Rams. And then the second one, 49ers fans are spreading rumors that Rams could cut Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, somewhere David Lombardi is trying to track the EPA for practice.
On 95.7 The Game.